Namaste dear students. Today we have come to another session, that is human physiology, which is a very interesting topic. You can know what is happening in your system. So in the human physiology, first foremost chapter is digestion as well as digestion and absorption. So in this chapter we are going to study the topics which are covered here are alimentary canal, what are the parts which are included in the alimentary canal, as well as the digestive glands. What do you mean by digestion? Digestion is nothing but it is a conversion of complex food substances into a simpler one. Where complex food, for example, you are eating a rice which is mainly consisting of a starch. At the end of digestion, that has to be converted into a glucose. So that is nothing but conversion of complex food substances into a simpler one. So that's why it is a chemical process, it is a mechanical process. What do you mean by a mechanical process? Without chewing, whether you swallow a food, no, it is not good. You have to chew a food. So first foremost thing, mechanical process is a chewing, mastication. Chemical process which involves the enzymes. There is a presence of enzyme. Lot of enzymes which involves in this process. So it is digestive gland which are mainly secreting enzymes. Then the digestion of food. So here we are mainly considering three. That is carbohydrate, protein as well as the liquid. Digestion of food, absorption. Without the absorption, process of digestion is incomplete. Whatever the food we have taken, that has to be absorbed. So that is the absorption of digestive products as well as the disorders related to the digestion. So these are the topics which are covered. First foremost, we'll look into the alimentary canal. So in the alimentary canal, you can see starting from a mouth. Alimentary canal, it is mainly consisting of a mouth, or inside the mouth it is a buccal cavity, or we can say it as a oral cavity. So the first foremost member of the mouth is nothing but the lips. So lips, which is one organ which is mainly consisting of a lot of blood vessels, open blood vessels. There is a presence of lot of blood vessels which is mainly seen in the lips. Without the lips, process of digestion is not possible. What happens is, it is a main closure what we are having. That is the door what we are having. Without the lip, what happens? Whatever you eat, that will come out. So that is regarding to the mouth. And in the oral cavity, next. In the mouth we have teeth as well as tongue, all those parts. We will study it in detail later. Then we have a pharynx. Pharynx is a common passage meant for the food as well as the air. It is known to be the common passage. Then we have a food pipe, that is esophagus, that is the second longest structure in our alimentary canal. And then we have a bag-like structure. There is a J-shaped bag-like structure, that is the stomach, which is a storage organ. Then we have pancreas, liver, gallbladder. These are mainly secreting enzymes for the process of digestion. And then there is a presence of duodenum. It is a part of small intestine. Small intestine is the longest structure in our alimentary canal, which is mainly divided into duodenum as well as jejunum and ileum, that I will explain later. And then we have a large intestine. Large intestine also consisting of three important parts, that is cecum, colon as well as the rectum. And there is a opening that is called anus. So in the digestive system, we have a complete digestive system. There are two openings, that is mouth as well as the anus. Okay. So next, we'll just look into this, the length of the alimentary canal parts. In the length of alimentary canal part, first foremost is a mouth. It is in male, that is around 40 to 70 mm, as well as in females 35 to 70 mm. Okay, so pharynx 12 to 14 centimeter, whereas esophagus 25 centimeter, stomach 20 inch when it is empty. Okay, so here you have to see when it is empty, small intestine 6 meters, longest one, large intestine 1.5 meters, as well as the rectum 12 centimeter, anus 5 centimeters. So these are the length of the parts of alimentary canal. Okay. Okay, so next we'll move on to the first foremost organ, that is the mouth, which is also known as oral or buccal cavity. Mouth is also called oral or buccal cavity. So here, so in this mouth, the upper part above the tongue. So here this part, see here we have mainly two bones. These are the mandibles. This is the only movable bone in our face, and these are known as maxilla. It is single bone and these are two bone, which is immovable. This is a movable one. So here the roof of the oral cavity consisting of a structure called palate. So in the anterior region, that is a hard palate, and in the posterior region, that is a soft palate. Without the palate we cannot speak. Each time whenever you speak, the tongue touches the palate. So hard palate as well as soft palate. You can experience in the hard palate there is a ridge-like structure. There is a presence of ridge-like structure, that is rugae, that is very important for the speech. So that is known to be the rugae, which is mainly found in the hard palate. Whereas the soft palate, the posterior one is known to be the soft palate. In the soft palate, extending to that, there is a triangular muscular organ known to be bulla. Normal people, they say it is a small tongue, but it is not a small tongue, but it looks like a tongue, small muscular structure, and that is known to be the bulla, which is mainly meant for whenever we are swallowing food, which mainly closes the nostril opening. So here you can see. Okay, so this is a small structure whenever we are swallowing food, that mainly closes the nasal opening. Sometimes what happens is whenever you are drinking water or anything, if anyone disturbs, that comes out through the nose. That is mainly because when the bulla failed to close it properly. So that is regarding to the bulla. Next, as I told, it is mouth mainly consisting of lips, where it is a soft muscular movable structure, tongue, upper and lower jaw. So here, next regarding to the tongue. In the case of tongue, there is a absence of bone in our tongue. There are no bones. It is mainly made up of a skeletal muscle. It is the only muscle which is voluntary muscle, which moves under our will. Okay, so that is skeletal muscle, where the tongue, which is mainly consisting of around 50 to 100 taste receptor cells in each taste bud. Now we have to know what these are taste buds, where these are present. Okay, so this is a structure of tongue, where this part is known to be anterior 2/3 and the above it is a posterior 1/3. So the anterior 2/3, which is mainly having maximum functions. On the surface of the tongue, mainly consisting of certain structures called papillae. These papillae are consisting of taste buds. On the anterior part of the tongue, it mainly consisting of structures called papillae, where that consists of a taste buds. There are mainly 4 types of papillae. We have 4 types of papillae. Filiform papillae. Direct MCQs can be asked based on these. Filiform papillae, fungiform papillae, foliate papillae, as well as the circumvallate papillae. 4 types of papillae. So here you can see these structures where there is a maximum taste buds are seen. This structure, which is a circumvallate papillae. Okay, so here you can see different tasting. In this region there is a bitter tasting. These regions are meant for sour tasting. These regions are meant for sweet, and these, the sides of the tongue, that is specially meant for the salty taste. Whereas in this region, here in this region, there is a presence of filiform papillae, where filiform papillae does not contain any taste buds. It is specially meant for the grinding purpose. See, our tongue will have various functions. It will also do the grinding process. It will also help in the mastication process. See, in the medical term, we call it as a mastication instead of telling chewing. Okay, we call it as a mastication, where mastication process mainly involves the teeth, tongue, as well as the whatever the secretion of tongue, and that is nothing but saliva. Okay, so it is mainly lacking taste buds, but there is a function of grinding as well as detecting the texture of the food. Texture also you will come to know. If you are chewing a chocolate, what is the shape of the chocolate? So that you will come to know. That is mainly because these particular filiform papillas. Okay. So next. So this is a one important structure. Here you can see with the mouth, and this is a palate and different kinds of pharynx. So that I will explain again. Okay, so next, one more thing in the tongue we have forgot. So here in the tongue, the attachment of the tongue to the lower jaw, it is mainly by a structure known as a frenulum. You can see if you open your tongue, there is a small connection to the lower jaw, that is nothing but frenulum. So what happens if we don't have a frenulum? So if we don't have a frenulum, while swallowing the food, even you can swallow the tongue, because it is a main connection. Without the frenulum, you will have a speech problems also. So that is regarding to the frenulum. As you know that in our mouth or oral cavity, tongue, mainly there is a secretion of saliva. Okay, so that we will speak later. Next is about oral cavity mainly consisting of teeth. The arrangement of teeth is known as a dentition. Arrangement of teeth is called dentition. Human teeth, which is described using three terms. There are three terms for the description of human teeth. It is known as a thecodont. Human teeth is called thecodont. What do you mean by a thecodont? It is very strong because it is present inside a socket. There is a presence of socket. So this socket, there is a presence of socket. So that's why it is known to be the thecodont. Diffeodont. What do you mean by your diffeodont? Diffeodont refers to, in the lifespan of a human being, there is a two set of teeth. Okay, first one is milk teeth or deciduous teeth or temporary teeth, and the second one is a permanent teeth. Okay, or the adult teeth. So regarding to the milk teeth there are about 20 milk teeth. Okay, so here you can see the dental formula of milk teeth, that is 2102 by 2102. What are these? Dental formula is nothing but the presence of teeth in the one side of the upper jaw and the one side of the lower jaw. This is in the one side of the upper jaw as well as the one side of the lower jaw. Here 2 by 2 is the incisors. Okay, 1 by 1 is a canine, 0 by 0 is a premolars, 2 by 2 is a molars. Incisors, the starting first to the forward. Okay, so here 2 plus 2, other side 2. As I told, it is a one side of upper jaw. So one side 2, other side 2. So total 4. And the lower jaw again 4. So it is 4 plus 4, 8. Okay. Then incisors 1 by 1. Sorry, canines 1 by 1. This side 1, this side 1. So in the animals, canines will be very sharp. It will be protruded like. So okay, so it is this side 1, 2, and the lower jaw 2. So total 4. Okay, and the premolars are 0. Where the infants, especially the kids, they mainly lack the premolars. So normally we say that after the 6th month there is the emerging of teeth takes place. Tooth will start to emerge from 6th month, and it will fall as well as around 5 to 6 years. After 6 years they will get adult teeth. Okay. So here it is premolars are absent. Molars are 2 by 2. Molars are 2 by 2. So one side 2, another side 2, 4, and the lower jaw 4, total 8. So it is 20 milk teeth. Now, what is the number of adult teeth? That is around 32. Here we will see 2 by 2, incisors, total 8. 1 by 1, canines, total 4. 2 by 2, premolars, that is 8. And the molars are this side 3, this side 3. 6. 6 plus 6, 12. So the total is 32. So this can be asked, that MCQ can be asked based on this. So you can see the shape. So here first foremost is the incisors. Incisors are mainly meant to hold. Okay, incisors are meant to hold. Canines, that is to tear. That is to tear a bark. So that is mainly canines, premolars as well as the molars. That is specially meant for the grinding purpose. Grinding purpose mainly premolars and the molars. So in the structure we can see there is a crown as well as a root. The upper part is a crown as well as the lower part is a root. In the human being, the strongest tissue is nothing but a tissue called enamel. Enamel is the strongest tissue. It is a layer. It will be covering the teeth. Okay, so that is the enamel. And next is the dentine. And here sides we have a gums. Here there are sockets. So there are sockets as well as the gum. So that is regarding to the teeth. Okay, so it is termed as thecodont, defiodont as well as heterodont. Why the heterodont? Because we have four different kinds, four kinds. So incisors, canines, premolars and molars. One of the very important condition here is where the milk teeth is lacking, premolars. So that is especially regarding to this. That is regarding teeth. Okay, so next we'll move on to the next part, that is the pharynx. As I told, the pharynx is a common passage for the air as well as the food. So there are three parts in the pharynx: oropharynx, nasopharynx as well as the laryngopharynx. So oropharynx, it is having a connection to the esophagus. Oropharynx, see here you can see oropharynx is in connection with the esophagus, whereas nasopharynx is in connection with the nasal cavity. Laryngopharynx is in connection with the windpipe or the larynx. Larynx is nothing but our sound box which is found above the trachea. So that is laryngopharynx. So three parts especially seen in the case of pharynx. So nasopharynx, oropharynx as well as the laryngopharynx. Next we will move on to the next structure, that is the esophagus, which is about 25 cm in length, where food flows in a peristaltic movement. So the movement of food in the esophagus, that is a peristaltic movement. What do you mean by peristaltic movement? Okay, if it is like a pipeline, that will directly enter into the system. So sometimes we will have a omitting its expulsion of the food substances from the mouth. So here peristaltic movement means it is mainly consisting of two muscles. So there is a presence of circular muscles as well as the longitudinal muscles. So there are two types of muscles which are mainly found in the esophagus. So they will show the peristaltic movement, that is a forward backward movement. So that is regarding to this. Now what happens is, whenever the food enters through the pharynx, why it only enters into the esophagus, why not to the particular windpipe or the trachea? So now just you consider, here this is a pharynx, this is a windpipe and this is the esophagus. Whenever the food is moving through this, this windpipe is mainly consisting of two structures. Okay, so two structures. If this is a windpipe, this structure is known as a glottis. This is a glottis, opening of the windpipe is a glottis, which is consisting of a flap-like structure, cartilaginous flap-like structure, that is epiglottis. So here you can see this is a trachea, this is glottis as well as there is a flap-like structure, that is a epiglottis. What happens whenever you see this will be open? Okay, if the air is entering through this, that will directly enter into this. If the food is entering, then this will close. Okay, so that will close. You might have heard that in small infants there is a condition known as aspiration. What happens is, sometimes due to the position, due to the feeding position, sometimes milk enters into our lungs. That is mainly because in small individuals, in the newly born babies, last working system is nothing but respiratory system. When the baby is in the embryonic stage, when the baby is inside the mother's womb, so respiratory structure is not functional, because all the oxygen, all the carbon dioxide, everything that will be transferred through the umbilical cord. Okay, after the birth, those individuals will cry a lot. Why? That is mainly to clear the tract. The trachea has to clear. So if the baby is not crying, in the sense, doctors will tap. That is mainly for that reason. Okay, so what happens in those young individuals where the respiratory system is very tender, that's why sometimes due to the milking position or feeding position, what happens, milk enters into the lungs. Okay, so in that condition there is a possibility of death also. Okay, so that is regarding to this. Normally there is a presence of cartilaginous flap called epiglottis, which will cover the glottis, avoid the entry of food substances into the particular windpipe. Okay, so that is regarding to this. So next we'll move on to the next organ, so that is the stomach. So what is stomach? It is a storage organ. Our stomach is like a storage organ. It is like a balloon. As we fill, that will expand. Okay, so here it is a J-shaped structure, and this is a J-shaped structure mainly consisting of 4 parts. This is a fundic region in the J-shape. So you can see correct the J-shaped structure. This is a fundic region, or which is known as a fundus, and this region is a cardiac region. And this is a pyloric region. Last region is a pyloric region, and the middle is a body region. Cardiac region, fundic region, pyloric region, as well as the body region. Have you heard about the term regurgitation? Regurgitation. There are two terms: regurgitation as well as deglutition. Deglutition and regurgitation. Deglutition is nothing but swallowing. As I told, mastication is for chewing. Deglutition for swallowing. Okay, so here regurgitation means in small infants, what happens whenever they drink milk or anything, sometimes that automatically comes out through their mouth. That is not vomiting. Okay, the milk will be intact, that will come out through mouth. That refers to, here what happens is there is a sphincter. It is a wall-like structure. Okay, valve-like structure called a sphincter. There are two sphincters. One is a gastroesophageal sphincter, connection between esophagus as well as the stomach, and in the opening of stomach, that is a cardiac sphincter. If that sphincters are not developed properly, if the sphincters are very tender, then what happens? There is a possibility that the food, it will come out. Not we will have a vomiting, that is the separate one. It is a central nervous system controlled mechanism. If the food is not digested properly or all those things, that leads to the vomiting, and this is different. Okay, so what happens is here we have two sphincters. One is a gastroesophageal sphincter and one more is a cardiac sphincter. Opening is called cardiac orifice. Orifice term always refer to the opening, cardiac orifice. Okay, so here next regarding to the stomach, what happens as you eat more food, your tummy looks big. Why? Because it is mainly consisting of structures called rugae. There is a presence of structure called rugae. As we eat more food, that will expand. That also having certain limits. Okay, that is also having certain limits. So what happens? Certain amount expansion will be seen. That is mainly due to the rugae. As well as stomach also consists of two muscles, outer longitudinal muscle as well as the inner circular muscle. So that is regarding to the muscle, and then we have a rugae that will be expanded. You have heard rugae even in the hard palate, that is very important for our speech, as well as the rugae which is found in our stomach, that is meant for the storage expansion of the stomach. And then we have a one more sphincter in connection with the stomach as well as the small intestine. Next sphincter is connection with the stomach and small intestine, and that is known to be the pyloric sphincter. So pyloric sphincter after the food. See what happens is in the digestion, in the process of digestion, all the food will not take digest in the stomach. Some food has to go to the intestine. What happens here? There is a acidic composition in the stomach. All the food, see first foremost in the mouth. All the food will undergo a mastication, mixes with the saliva and forms a ball-like structure, and that is called bolus. Okay, food masticated, mixes with saliva and forms a ball-like structure which is known as food, bolus, and that will be deglutited. It will undergo a process of deglutition. Now in the stomach, again semi-digested food mixes with the acidic component of the stomach and forms a chyme. Okay, semi-digested food mixes with the acidic component of the stomach and forms a chyme, and then it will be transferred to the small intestine. So next we'll move on to the small intestine. Okay, so the next longest structure in our alimentary canal is the small intestine. So why the name small intestine as well as large intestine? So small intestine very lengthy, it is 6 meters, large intestine is about 1.5 meters. So when we consider the diameter, where the large intestine is having more diameter, which is around 3 inches, so that is why it is known to be the large intestine. So now regarding to the small intestine, it is mainly divided into 3 parts. There is a duodenum, jejunum as well as the ileum. So those are the 3 parts which are mainly included in the small intestine. Here you can see there is a C-shaped or U-shaped, C or U-shaped structure which is a duodenum. Maximum digestion takes place in the duodenum. Maximum digestion which will take place in the duodenum, because whereas we have glands such as the pancreas, liver as well as we have gallbladder, all those will secrete certain enzymes, all those will be transferred to the duodenum. Okay, so here maximum digestion. Next, slightly coiled structure. We have a slightly coiled structure called jejunum as well as a highly coiled structure known as ileum. Slightly coiled structure jejunum and the highly coiled structure called ileum. So these 2 structures are specially made for the process of absorption. The absorption will take place here. So as you know that this absorption, it is mainly by a structure called villi. In the next class I will explain about the villi. Okay. So that is regarding to the structure of small intestine, specially meant for the digestion as well as the absorption. So next is, we'll move on to the large intestine. So the large intestine, which is about 1.5 meters length as well as 3 inches in diameter, where again the large intestine which is divided into, there is the cecum. So here cecum, where the ileum is joined. When the ileum is joined, that structure is a cecum. So here, for the joining of ileum as well as cecum, there is a presence of valve known as ileocecal valve. Ileocecal valve. Whatever the digestive waste, after the process of digestion and absorption, whatever the digestive waste is there, that has to be transferred to the large intestine. So through the ileocecal valve. And in the cecum, there is a presence of symbiotic microbes. What is symbiotic? It is a mutual fund. It's like a mutual fund. There is a mutual interaction. They are helping us, we are helping them. So that is symbiotic microbes. So there is a presence of certain symbiotic microbes. If there are certain undigested, if there are certain food which is not digested properly, these microbes will help in the proper digestion. That's why they are known to be symbiotic microbes. You might have heard there is an advertisement, usually they give about Yakult. Yakult is a solution. It is mainly consisting of, they tell that it will cleanses your intestine because it is a solution. It is mainly consisting of symbiotic microbes. Naturally, we get it in a buttermilk. Normally, in our tradition, we drink buttermilk after having food. That is mainly, that is consisting of these symbiotic microbes. So that will help in a process of digestion as well as cleansing the intestine. Okay, so then extending to the cecum, there is a presence of small structure, small finger-like structure called vermiform appendix. Sometimes what happens, there is waste substances which will move towards there and there is a elongation of that takes place. Elongation of appendix takes place, appendicitis. Okay, so there will be a stomach ache. If any individual is having appendicitis, if there is an elongation of this structure, then that leads to the very severe stomach ache. Then they will remove the appendix. That is appendectomy. Appendectomy is a procedure for the removal of appendix. So normally we consider it as one of the rudimentary structure. It is function as not observed. It is a structure which is present, which is not a functional one. Okay, so that is regarding to the appendix. Next we will move on to the next structure, the colon. This complete structure is a colon. It is three parts. Colon is divided into ascending colon, moves upwards, transverse colon as well as the descending colon. Ascending, transverse and the descending colon. So those are the three colon. Now, what is the function of this colon? Whatever the waste substances are there, that will move through the colon. So now, if the waste substances, if consisting of water, that will be absorbed by the colon. What happens is, you might have heard that you should drink more water for the easy defecation. Defecation refers to the removal of digestive waste or removal of stool. So here in the colon, what happens, whatever the waste substances is there, from there water will be absorbed, so that there is a formation of a stool. Stool is a digestive waste. Okay, so that will move towards the next part called rectum. Okay, it is a rectum. What happens in the rectum? There is a storage of fecal matter takes place, and there is a nervous controlled mechanism. Defecation, process of defecation and process of motion. It is a nervous controlled mechanism. If we are drinking less water, then what happens? In the colon, water will be absorbed. Stool becomes very hard. If the stool is very hard, that may crack the anal regions. Anal regions are mainly considered. The external opening is nothing but the anus. Anal regions are mainly consisting of blood vessels. If the stool is very hard, so all those blood vessels will be cracked. The continuous hardening of the stool may lead to a condition known as a piles. You might have heard about piles, so that is mainly due to this. Okay, so this is regarding to the complete alimentary canal. So next is about the digestive gland and some of the parts such as the transverse section of gut. All those I will take in the next class. Thank you.